From evil monkeys, medicine, mysticism to substances that enable a surface of the brain to be exposed on which disembodied spirits can operate. Welcome to an analysis of Green Tea by Sheridan Le Fanu. Let me start with the characters in the story. There are two narrators in the story, an anonymous narrator that introduces the story and Dr. Martin Huselius, the narrator in the letters. Dr. Martin Huselius is a German physician. He is the narrator in the letters. He is also a medical philosopher. He is addressing Professor Benelux. Then we have Mr. Jennings. He is an unmarried and sick man. He is also described as a conjurer. We also have Lady Mary. She is a mutual friend of Dr. Huselius and Mr. Jennings. Jones is the name of one of the servants of Mr. Jennings. Finally, we have the monkey. We might consider this as a character in the story as well. However, we can also argue he is just one of the symptoms of Mr. Jennings' illness. Secondly, the setting of the story is London. We have Lady Mary House. Mr. Jennings doesn't feel well, so he meets Dr. Huselius at Lady Mary's house as part of a small party. Also, we have Mr. Jennings' house. This is what the narrator names Black Street. It is a house by a dark street. Its story, almost a library, is well described in the story. It is quite silent, almost oppressive, luxurious, gloomy, and in it traces a somber feeling. Third, let me talk about the plot of the story. The story begins with a prologue that introduces the anonymous narrator. The anonymous narrator is Dr. Huselius' medical secretary, who explains he has studied medicine but not practiced due to an accident where he lost two fingers and then he lost his health. Then he introduces Dr. Martin Huselius, his master. The secretary explains he finds a recorded case by Mr. Huselius. The anonymous narrator explains that Dr. Huselius would be the narrator in the story he is about to introduce. The narrative is a medical record in letters. Both Dr. Huselius and Mr. Jennings meet at Lady Mary's house during a small party. Lady Mary thinks of Mr. Jennings, the most happy and blessed person on earth. He is a bachelor, has money, he is charitable, has a secret profession, but his health soon declines. He has breakdowns. When he breakdowns, he returns to London, where he inhabits a very narrow house in a dark street. Mr. Jennings knows Germans and reads Dr. Huselius' essays about metaphysical medicine. We might say that he admires Dr. Huselius. Lady Mary explains Mr. Jennings was working on something of an abstract subject, perhaps theology, but he stopped. Also, she states he likes tea, or they like it, extravagantly. He liked green tea, but he has given it up. Moreover, Lady Mary explains to the doctor that Dr. Jennings' father is 10 years dead already, but that he saw a ghost and always bothered Lady Mary's fathers with dreams and stories he had. The doctor visits Mr. Jennings and finds some books written in Latin in his study. The book explains about their internal side. Mr. Jennings meets the doctor in the study. Now, Mr. Jennings is about to tell his own story. Mr. Jennings explains that about 4 years ago he began a work. It was about the religious metaphysics of the ancients. Paganism, maybe? In his own words, not good for the mind, the Christian mind. Tea was his companion. He met a man that had some old books. Then explains how he started seeing two dull lamps, discs of red, little circles of an outline of something black, of a small monkey. He believes it is just an illusion, but the monkey will follow him. According to the books, this presence can end up degenerated into something direful and insupportable, and end by wearing its victim out. This monkey is visible in total dark as in daylight, and he would not lose sight of the monkey but when sleeping. The monkey doesn't let him alone and accompanies him even to the church. While he reads to the congregation, the monkey sits upon the book, so he cannot read. It also becomes aggressive. When he prays, the monkey dreadfully interrupts him. Mr. Jennings is desperate and doesn't think he can stop the monkey. The monkey has now some control over him and urges him to crimes and to injure other people and himself. He has become a slave of Satan. Now, before the doctor leaves the room, he tells Mr. Jennings to regard this illness as mere physical pain and to light some candles. However, the doctor interprets that Mr. Jennings has been delivered over to spiritual reprobation. Then Mr. Jennings is found dead. He has committed suicide, cutting his throat with a razor. The story concludes explaining how Mr. Jennings could have been cured by Dr. Hesilius if he had the chance to treat him. There are cardinal functions of the brain. The brain connects to the heart by a fluid. The nature of that fluid is spiritual. By various abuses, it seems this fluid quality was affected. Green tea has damaged this nervous fluid and needed some treatment. Green Tea is a story in a collection of fantasy and horror short stories by the Irish author Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. You may be familiar with Joseph Le Fanu as he is a writer of Carmilla. It may be one of the first short stories about vampires. Let's also discuss about what has been said about this work. In the article Sheridan Le Fanu's Symptomatic Gothic by Helen Stoddard explains how Hesilius fits in the Gothic characterization as he urges to pursue a medical practice as a man of science. The red-eyed monkey might indeed emerge from Jennings, but as a mental projection. Helen Stoddard also states that the deep paranoia in green tea demonstrates a mechanism of homophobia, that is, policing the sexual spheres. Secondly, the Confessions of an English Green Tea Drinker, Sheridan Le Fanu and Medical and Metaphysical Dangers of Green Tea, an article by Melissa Dickinson, explains that in the 19th century medical, scientific and cultural discourses surrounding green tea, there's a complex set of forces peculiar to green tea which are operating upon the Reverend Jennings' body and mind. Le Fanu's tale might thus be read as a marker of Jennings' delicate constitution and highly susceptible nature, and as a rather hyperbolic warning against long-term recourse to hallucination. This was a moment when the majority of tea imported to Britain was Chinese green tea. All nervous disorders are certainly aggravated by the use of tea, and internal tremor, which it often occasions, is worse in green tea than in black tea. The fear of adulteration during Victorian society was also present, and that's the reason why green tea as a substance becomes of some importance, let's say, as a Victorian society. The article I saw him looking at me, male bodies and the corrective medical gaze in Sheridan Le Fanu's Green Tea by Daniel Lewis explains that the physician and his case can be understood as operating in the story for normative and disciplinary purposes. Le Fanu's story presents the practice of medical observation as a disciplinary mechanism seeking to norm Jennings' behavior so that he can once again fit acceptable Victorian male roles. Green tea focuses on Dr. Hesilius' medical gaze, as it seeks to regulate a male body perceived to be abnormal and even disabled, due to its inability to work and its reluctance to enter into the social sphere. He also points to dangers of men's exposure to foreign influences, such as suicide. Now let's discuss the story Green Tea. According to the theory we have studied so far in the course, according to Christine Gotler, spirits in medieval and early modern culture were pictured as vapors or gaseous substances. Spirit and vapor concepts are understood as the same. Airily volatile, highly refined and subtle quality of spirits in distinction to ordinary matter, and the liminal place of subtle bodies. This idea is addressed in the story at the conclusion when the narrator explains that the cause of Mr. Jennings' illness is the quality of a nervous fluid that connects the heart with the brain, that we should call the soul. Moreover, Christine Gotler states that fasting, fresh air, and wine make a depuration of the spirit, so thoughts are more free, subtle, and clear. However, the use of a substance, in this case green tea, has deteriorated the quality of this nervous fluid in Mr. Jennings. We have the damned souls and the black pill. This is a very important trope in the black pill. Gotler states that damned souls are portrayed with a black pill. It goes without saying that the monkey in the story is also black, which explains the evil nature and its endeavor to destroy Mr. Jennings. Next, we have reputation and reflection. The doctor interprets that Mr. Jennings has been delivered over to spiritual reprobation. Thus, the apparition of the monkey might also reveal hidden crimes. On the other hand, the apparition of Mrs. Veal seems to be associated with affects like fear and obsession, as Mrs. Bargrave is victim of abuses by her husband. So in both of them, one can see that there's a retained pause. Post-traumatic states are symptoms of unconsciousness. History is also one of those symptoms. The future is already populated with certain possibilities derived from the past. Sometimes the past always remains. Next, the word of spirits. While Mrs. Vale tries to help, the monkey tries to destroy. One could understand that afflictions shall leave Mrs. Bargrave, while Mrs. Jennings would eventually be destroyed by event. Illness. While Mrs. Bargrave has a sore throat, Mrs. Jennings has breakdowns, which could evidence that there is an external element influencing their experiences with the paranormal. Finally, degeneration. The monkey could seen as an anxiety of the new world. I would like to end this video with a question for you so you can read it, and please